Is it just me, or has anyone else felt like they need to go back to school just to keep up with all this AI stuff in the news?
Yeah, it's a lot.
It really is. Like, every day there's something new about how it's going to change, well, everything. Which is why I'm really glad we're doing this deep dive.
Good feeling.
We're diving into AI Compass's take on the Something Digital conference. Because those folks are right there, knee-deep in it all. What did they see? What stood out?
Well, it's interesting. One of the big things they highlighted was that with all this, frenzy around AI right now, AI itself isn't new.
Right. Like, that's what caught my eye, too, reading their take.
It's a good question, and it really gets to the heart of what's different now. See, all this hype, it's because of the explosion of generative AI. And that is pretty new.
Okay, so generative AI, for those of us who need a little refresher, we're talking AI that actually creates things, right?
Right. We're talking AI that can create things from, text prompts, realistic images, different kinds of creative content, even code software. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, and maybe a little terrifying depending on the day, right?
Right.
But so I'm curious, why does it matter that AI has been around for ages? Shouldn't we be focused on this new stuff?
Because seeing the history of AI, it helps us understand that all this buzz, it's part of this bigger cycle. There have been other times when AI was making huge leaps forward, and people were saying it was going to change the world, which it did in a lot of ways. But then, well, it sort of went quiet.
So it's like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
All exciting, and then a bit of letdown.
Exactly. These periods of, disillusionment, they're even called AI winters. Funding dries up, people move on to the next big thing.
Wow, AI winters. Didn't know there was a term for that.
Oh, yeah. And knowing about these cycles, it helps us have a more balanced perspective. This current wave of AI, it's not an overnight miracle. It's the culmination of decades of research finally paying off.
So not dismissing AI, more like not freaking out quite so much.
Exactly. And that's where, AI compasses people over pixels philosophy comes in.
Okay, yes, I saw that. What a great way to put it.
It is, isn't it? It's about using AI strategically, not just because everyone else is.
Right. And this kind of leads into what they were talking about with strategic automation, right?
Absolutely. Dr. Tim Wark, who's actually the global head of AI at AECOM, he spoke about this.
Okay.
He said the real key is to automate, as he put it, repetitive tasks and low-risk processes.
So using AI to take over the stuff that humans don't actually need to be doing, freeing us up for more important things.
You've got it. Things that really need that human touch, creativity, critical thinking, empathy. That's what we excel at.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense than robots taking over the world.
Right.
So it's less about fearing AI and more about asking, how can it help us be even better at our jobs, at our lives?
Right, you're getting it.
Okay, good. Because I need some good news with all these headlines. But seriously, I want to know more about what this actually looks like in practice.
Yeah.
What are we automating? Give me some examples.
Oh, there are some cool ones. The conference highlighted a tool called Relevance AI that actually automates email generation for sales leads.
Okay, now that's something I can get behind. Instead of everyone spending hours writing emails.
Exactly. This AI can do the initial outreach, and that frees up the sales team to actually, build those relationships, the important stuff.
Wow. That could be huge for so many people, right? Freeing up all that time and energy. What else can we automate? Where do I sign up?
Right. It is pretty mind-blowing when you think about it, but it's also important to remember the other side of AI Compass's little saying, right?
Oh, you mean hard over hardware?
Exactly, because as amazing as all this tech is, we can't, forget about the human element.
So it's not just about handing over the reins to the machines.
Nope. And what's interesting, Dr. Wark actually talked about this too. He pointed out that there's this big shift happening in the business world especially, where we're moving away from purely transactional relationships and towards more, integrated long-term partnerships.
So even though everything is speeding up, because of technology, it's actually more important to have that human element.
Way more important. Because those long-term relationships, the trust and the understanding and just navigating the nuances of it all, that's where AI, at least for now, just can't compete with us humans.
Wow. That's really making me think about my own, career path here. So if AI takes over all the routine tasks, what does that even mean for the kind of skills I need? What's going to make me, irreplaceable in this brave new world?
You've just hit on such a great question, and one that I'm sure is on a lot of our listeners' minds. But the good news is it's not about, turning into robots ourselves or anything.
Though learning to code like a machine does sound kind of cool. But you're saying it's about those human skills we were talking about before.
Yeah, it's about really developing those things that make us human, like empathy and creativity, critical thinking, be adaptable, being able to build relationships and solve those tough problems. That's what's going to make you stand out, especially as AI gets more sophisticated.
It's kind of fun. When you think about it, like, AI is forcing us to be more human.
Totally. And what's great? The Something Digital Conference, they give some really practical advice about all this, and it's something AI Compass really believes in too.
Okay, good. Give us the inside scoop. What's the game plan? Our listeners are all about actually doing something with this stuff.
Well, first of all, don't panic. You don't need to be an AI whiz-by like next week. Just start with the basics, like what is AI really? How does it work? And what could it mean in a bigger sense?
AI 101. I like it.
Right. And there are so many resources out there now. It's amazing. Podcasts, obviously, articles, you name it, online courses. This is the time to become a learning machine yourself.
Never stop learning.
Yeah, exactly. Because AI is not slowing down anytime soon, so we can't either.
What else should we be thinking about?
The other big one, think about AI, like, I don't know, a master chef. You give them bad ingredients, they can only make a so-so meal. But give them the best, freshest stuff, that's how you get something really amazing.
So the data you feed your AI, it's got to be good. Garbage in, garbage out, or bad ingredients, bad meal. Got it.
Exactly. And then don't try to do everything at once. Pick a small area, low risk, and just experiment, see what works.
Okay, that feels doable. It's not about changing everything overnight.
Exactly. Be strategic, think it through. AI is a tool. It's not here to take over.
I like that. A tool, not a takeover.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the big takeaway here is that AI, it's not this big scary monster.
Right.
It's something we can use to do even more of what we're good at. Amazing. Well, on that note, we'll leave our listeners with something to think about. If you could automate one part of your job tomorrow, just one thing, what would it be? And what would you do with that extra time and energy?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, the future is ours to create.